afternoon. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to the webinar, The Brand Amplifier Process, a Roadmap to Integrated Marketing. We have a rock star team with us today. We have Celina Shands, Emma Kessner, and Anika Jackson. So I'm going to turn it over to them and everyone enjoy the webinar.
Thank you so much, Bethel. It's so great to see all of you. I see some familiar names from our last four-part webinar series, and we're really excited to bring this one to you. I'm going to get the slide deck up and running, and Emma's going to pop in the chat some links for you, not only this deck, but we're going to have another little handout for you today as well. So welcome. We are really excited about this. I'm Celina Shands, CEO and founder of Full Capacity Marketing and proud marketing partner of CoAbe since 2017. What you're going to see today are snippets from our brand new online course, the Brand Amplifier for Workforce and Education Professionals. We wanted to give you a sense of what this process is all about in our online course that consists of 10 modules. It's an affiliate partnership with CoAbe. They wanted to bring this to you at discounted rates and as a member of CoAbe and as a benefit. So that you can really go deep and understand the world of integrated marketing, which we'll be defining that later today, and work with the templates and tools that we have to develop really strong messaging for your unique market. At the end of the course, I do want to mention that we're going to be selecting a participant from this class to win a free seat. And how you're going to do that at the very end, and I'll cue you up to do this, is you're going to use the chat box and you're going to talk about things that we discussed today, what really resonated with you, and why you would how you would use the course to really improve your brand, your adult education brand, and your marketing and communication strategies. So that's what we're going to do today. For those of you who don't know our company, we've been in the market for 22 years, focusing on workforce education and entrepreneurship as a workforce development strategy. We're brand storytellers and work in strategic communications. And I just love working with CoAbe. They have just been a phenomenal partner and really seek always to put their members first and at the forefront of everything they do. We are going to be using the chat a lot today, and I love that you jumped on and said where you're from. I also want to hear from you all what kind of branding, marketing, and communications challenges you see within your organization. So if you could just kind of put that in there, that will help us a lot as well. And then I'm going to turn it over to Anika and Emma, who are going to introduce.
Hello, everybody. It's so nice to be here. I am the VP of Public Relations at Full Capacity Marketing, and I'm also a graduate level professor at USC Annenberg, teaching on the digital media side and the PR and branding side. We love doing these workshops with CoAbe and with all of you. We love answering questions, so please put all your questions in the chat. I'm also a host and producer of Your Brand Amplified, which is a business podcast that does have great information from different experts in the field that any of you all could listen to. And then another podcast with USC, which is called Mediascape, Insights from Digital Change Makers. And Celina and I were also recently in a best-selling book on Amazon, Business on Purpose, Volume 2, which went to #1 in Women in Business, Service Industry, and Business Etiquette on Amazon. And so we are very excited about that. And it has a lot of great information for people to be inspired about all of our backstories. And we use a lot of, every single person who's part of the anthology uses storytelling, which is something that we'll be talking about as well as a mechanism to share our personal stories and journeys and how we got into business and what we're doing. And I will pass it to Emma.
Great. Thank you, Anika. Hello, everyone. My name is Emma Kessner. I'm the Director of Marketing and Work-Based Learning here at FCM. I am really passionate about building community-focused brands, and I really feel like this presentation will really go through our whole brand amplifier process, which is really helpful for learning more about integrated marketing, which is something that I'm very passionate about. So yes, as Anika said, please make sure to put all of your questions or comments in the chat. I'll be putting all the links there. So yeah, looking forward to a great presentation today.
Awesome. And we've already got some engagement going on in the chat, which I love. Being consistent with digital marketing is a challenge. getting our promotional materials into the community members that need it. Maeve, I love that because we're going to really talk about market segmentation and why that's important today. Let's see, Jacqueline said marketing is primarily social media, occasional special events or news stories, but it's so limited. So we need more options that are budget friendly. So true. Statewide perspective from Kelly, how to help local programs with marketing while remaining responsive. I don't know if some of you guys are going to the COAB conference in Nashville. We hope to see you there, but we're doing a whole session on this statewide approach to adult education. That's a session on there. And time, Ellie, we all feel your pain, right? These are really common challenges, being consistent, being able to reach more people. Absolutely. At the end of the day, people who are already engaged in your programs, that's fantastic, but we do want to expand our reach out into the market. That's actually the sign of a very effective brand. So let's get into this today. What we're going to do is really get you grounded in this amplifier process that Annika and I use and Emma use with all of our customers. And there's some foundational steps that you want to consider before you do anything, any tactic like social or earned media, or even changing your website. One is consider if your adult education has a good perception in your community. We're going to do a little poll here to see what you think about that. Clarifying your brand through what we call a brand blueprint. We're going to go through that with you today. We may never see you again, but we always give homework assignments because we think we want you to take away bits and pieces of this and say, yeah, I can use that part in my organization. Understanding your ideal customer. So one of the comments in the chat was getting our materials into the community members' hands that need it. Not everybody needs to know, right? We always think marketing, let's throw spaghetti at the wall because we want to get as many people as possible. Well, it actually is just the opposite. You want to narrow to your ideal customer. We're going to talk about positioning your organization and building a brand promise. And the only way you can do that is mapping what we call a competitive landscape. Now, you may say, well, we don't have competitors in workforce and education. Actually, you do. It makes it a little odd because sometimes you partner with them. But we'll go through how to do that today to get you to your brand story and building out those segmented messaging that's going to really resonate with your ideal customer groups. We'll have Annika talk about the PESO model, which is paid, earned, shared, and owned. And that really is the concept of integrated marketing, making sure you have a balanced approach in your marketing and outreach strategies. And then we'll put all this together for you in a case study. Okay, so keep the questions coming. Annika and Emma will flag me down. Stop. They'll be answering questions online, but we really want you to be engaged with the material here. So I want to start first by talking about brand basics. What is a brand? A brand is what people think, feel, and say about your business or your organization. So your adult ed organization, what people think, feel, and say. And with that definition, I'm going to pull up the first poll. Bethel, if you could pull the first poll up, and we want to get you weighed in here. And it says, do you believe your adult education organization has a good brand perception within your community? And an additional add-on to that, because I'm seeing some yeses in here, about 18% so far, that's fluctuating. If you said yes, just put in the chat for us why you feel that way, because I think it'll help others that are maybe saying no or I'm not sure. What is it that you're doing or you believe why you have a good brand? I just think that is super important. So we've got about half of you participating. And Annika, are people putting in the chat any of the yeses? You can talk about that while others are weighing in here before we close the poll out.
We just have one person so far. Yes, but can be better. High quality, good reviews, responsive partner. So that's fantastic.
Oh, good. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm really curious about the people who are unsure. Why are you unsure?
Yes, we're gonna have another poll up there too, but you can definitely put it in the chat. And I like the unsure because You know what? Just like you have key performance indicators for your students, you have performance measures for your students, enrollment, completion, maybe job placement, work-based learning. Well, you have that in marketing too. And you have to develop what we call key performance indicators or KPIs. And we'll go into what that is as well. So we got about 60%. So we'll go ahead and stop and share the results here. And you can see that about 30% of you said yes. That makes me happy. 21% say no, and about 50% say we're unsure. Okay.
And Celina, I just want to jump in. Just we do have just one quick question that we'll probably get into about just how we measure brand perception as well.
Yes. I love that question, and you're totally tracking with this. Yes, we're going to get into that without a doubt. Okay, so we did that poll. So now let's, Bethel, if we could bring up the second poll. For those who voted no or unsure, why is it that you feel that way? We seem to be the best kept secret. We have challenges meeting our enrollment goals. We really don't know if our messages are resonating out there in the community. We don't spend a lot of time on building our brand. By the way, you can check more than one. And other, if there's other, by all means, put it in the chat so we can check it out. And Annika, as they're coming in, or Emma, what kind of responses are on other, if at all?
Yeah, well, so these are still some of the other comments from the first poll, which
Oh,
are
good. Okay,
people don't
fantastic.
understand what or who we are, what adult education is.
Yes.
Somebody teaches in a correctional facility. People are positive about engaging, but the community member knowledge is limited because they're positive about it, but they don't know the extent because adult education
Yes.
encompasses so many different things. And other people said their program has a good reputation. Students are great advocates, telling others about their success. That is fantastic. I love that.
So good.
Yeah, and then people are now saying, yeah, it's not a sexy topic necessarily. Right? People like to help children. They like those stories, but when it comes to adult learners, it's hard. It can be hard to make messaging really compelling sometimes. Promotion is word of mouth. We don't know how to track it, and people are unaware of the program or some of the other comments from this poll.
Okay, thank you for that. That's really great. Let's see. We can go ahead and share the results. Most of you, let's see. Are we sharing the results? Can you guys see that? Okay,
Yes,
fantastic. So a majority, and I'm really glad this one polled high. We don't really know if messages are resonating. And we have a saying over here at Full Capacity Marketing that if you miss the message, you miss the mark. So you could go out and do all the social media, all the paid ad campaigns, have a nice website, real pretty website and everything. But if those messages do not resonate with your audiences, you go right over them. Fun fact, you can see anywhere between 6 and 10,000 advertising messages every single day, depending on what market you're in. So not only are you competing with limited time, limited budget, limited staff, but the noise, the sheer noise in the market. So thank you for this. This is going to really help us kind of fine tune the presentation as we go through it. So let's look at brand. How do you know if you have a good brand? Which is also called brand equity. In the middle circle there, that's people really value your brand. You have equity in the market. There's 4 steps to it. One is awareness. Do people even know you're out there? And so that's an important one. You can measure that by aided awareness in surveys or unaided awareness questions. So an aided question would be, have you ever heard of, and you fill in the name of your organization. If people go, oh, I've heard about them. Or you say, do you know of an adult education program or school or program in your area? And that's unaided. If they can recall you, that's even higher value. Once they know you, do they know what you do? A lot of times we do this with workforce boards and their American Job Centers, and they say, oh, yeah, the American Job Centers are the unemployment office. No, they're much more than that, right? So they even understand what you do. That's comprehension. Once they have those two factors, do they value what you do to the point that if they need you and they're your ideal customer, they will engage with you? So in the private sector, when you think about this, engagement, just replace engagement with profits. You know, they're making money. They have a high market penetration rate. People are using their products and services. So depending on what tactic you're using, we'll get into this later in the case study, but this is really the steps to brand awareness. Now, let's look at what do high equity brands sell. Think about Coke, Nordstrom. Think about Porsche and Harvard. Do they sell goods and services, or what are they really selling? When you think about Harvard, what is it that they sell? Do they sell education? What do you think, Annika? Does Harvard sell education or something else?
Well, they sell a perception and a network. And somebody in the chat, Jacqueline, said they sell a feeling.
Yes, I love that answer. They sell a feeling. So people do not buy goods and services. They buy relations, stories, and magic. Those are the three things. So now, if you think about this, these brands that have high equity, and by the way, Emma's going to put in the chat this YouTube video. You can watch it later, but it's Harvard's commercial. Just thinking about this in of itself, people don't buy it, they buy relations, stories, magic. I want to bring up the third poll, and I want you to think about one of your most important touch points, which is your website. Do the messages on your website primarily focus on features? And Bethel, you can pull this poll 3 up here. It's great. Thank you. Focus on features like class schedule, course description, locations, or does it focus on the emotional benefits your students will gain with your brand, like building a better life, career paths to make more money? Is it mostly features, mostly benefits, or you feel, okay, it's a good mixture of both, or maybe you're not sure? So we'll give you a few minutes there. And Annika, are there any other comments or questions in the chat that we should pay attention to?
Nope, but somebody else said that brands sell prestige, which I would say also, yeah, that goes along with exactly what we're talking about. That
Yes,
feeling of belonging.
absolutely. Okay, we can close this out. About half of you have shared, and we'll share the results. Oop. Do y'all see the poll results? Are you seeing those? Okay, fantastic. So mostly features. And, you know, we kind of expect this. And this is typically what we see because at the end of the day, you've got to communicate to your students, well, here's our class schedule, here's the classes, and this is what you're going to learn. That works for somebody who is already interested in what you have to offer. But if it's expanding reach to new people, that is not going to cut it. They need to know, how are you going to solve my challenges? So keep that in mind as we go through this. About 36% have a good mixture of both. And you want a mixture of both. Okay, thank you for weighing in on that. So if the brand, if we go back here and we look at people don't buy goods and services, they buy relations, stories, and magic, then the $1,000,000 question is, why do workforce and education brands sell features versus emotional benefits? And again, you miss the message, you miss the mark. So how do you work through this is a process that we call clarifying your brand. What is brand clarification? Well, what it is positioning your organization to a specific audience in a way where they not only completely understand what you do and how it can help them, but your messaging helps them get why they need your solution. So it's all about the why, your organization. Why do you even exist? What challenges you're solving? And that's what we're going to help you do. We're going to help you clarify your brand. You clarify your brand through what we call a brand blueprint. We're going to go through this today, and then I have an exercise for you to take home and do as well. Blueprint's really important. It's a concept that Annika brings in her classes. Annika, did you have a comment? Oh, sorry, I saw you unmute. So I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. It's a foundational basis from which all content flows, and it's the way that you want to be perceived in your unique market, your core characteristics that will be communicated to everybody, your prospective students, your partners, existing students, even sponsors and the news media. We're going to give you two parts to the brand blueprint. This is part one, and all of this you probably should have on file on your websites, but I'm going to roll through it real quickly and then give you an exercise. So the purpose, why you exist. Quite simply, why was this product, brand, company, or organization brought to life? What are you actually solving in terms of problems in the community and with your students? Vision is what you aim to achieve. So it's a future state. You'll probably not reach it. It's very lofty. It's aspirational. If you look at your vision statement and say, yeah, we can do that, it's probably not a vision statement. Okay. Mission is how you're going to achieve your vision. So it's who you are, what you do, who you do it for, and the benefits from your organization. Those four elements need to be within the mission. And then values. How do you conduct yourselves in support of your mission, vision, and purpose? So let's look at this a little more closely. I'm going to give you a private sector example with Gear Motors. So Gear Motors, what is their purpose? Their purpose is a company that produces electric batteries for cars, buses, and trucks that don't need fossil fuels. The company is also building the first coast-to-coast electric railway to facilitate transportation at reduced costs. So very simply stated, what their purpose is, and what issues they're solving. Their mission is they committed to creating a reliable, affordable, and transportation system that everyone can enjoy. Tells you they plan to achieve their vision, who they are, what they do, who they do it for, and their benefits. The vision to put 10 million electric cars, buses, and trucks on the road by 2050. Yeah, that's lofty, right? They may not make that, but it's what they're hoping for in the future. And then their values, their innovative conservation, environmentalism, carbon reduction, and renewable energy. So this is what they stand for and how they conduct themselves in the pursuit of their mission and vision. So here's your assignment, because this is so foundational in terms of getting your brand, moving into your brand story. I want you to write down your brand's vision, mission, and values. And then, by the way, doing this as a group or with your leadership is fantastic. And then you're going to evaluate each using the following questions as guidelines. Is the vision aspirational enough? Does it convey some future state that's lofty? Is the mission statement clear about who you are, what you do, who you do it for, and the benefits? And are the definitions of each of your values clear enough? So, for example, if your brand is innovative, and we see this a lot, that's one of our values. Well, what does that mean? Does it mean that the brand takes risks, that you find ways to solve large-scale issues, partner with organizations to go above and beyond what's expected? So you can even test this out within your own group and say, what do you think that means? And basically, there should be no room for interpretation. So if you believe the statements aren't clear, then one way to talk to your leadership about this is say, hey, I'm taking a course to help our brand stand out in the community. And I have some questions about our vision, mission, and values. And I need clarity to help develop our brand blueprint. You can say, wow, what's a brand blueprint? And then you can tell them. Okay. Are we good there? That's part one. All right. The next part is understanding your ideal customers. And that is, I wanted to share this article with you, which is about the 10 truths about marketing after the pandemic. And it's a fantastic article. You have the link in your package. But the old truth before the pandemic was know thy customer, right? Well, now it's changed to know thy customer segment. So you have adult learners as a target audience, but within that you have multiple segments, people who want to learn English, maybe people who want to learn a skill set. Those messages are going to be different for each. And so it's important to identify that. Beyond geography, we have learned marketing messages need to be personally relevant, aligned to an individual's situation and values, as opposed to demographics such as age and gender. That's important. Demographics are important, but you also have to overlay this another data set, which is called psychographics, which helps us really understand the attitudes and perceptions about different market segments. Let me break that down for you a little bit differently here. Here's some examples of target audiences and then breaking it down into market segments. An audience could be a student, and then some segments of that could be transfer students, it could be career education students, adult learners, job seekers could be displaced workers, veterans, out of school youth, and employers can be segmented in different ways. But even these have to be segmented and refined even further. And then you're going to say, well, wait a minute, doesn't want everyone know about our brand? And yeah, you want to generate overall brand awareness in your community. But the truth is, and this is the number one thing I really want you guys to take away, is that you only want to attract the ones who are likely to engage with you because they're interested in your service offerings. Narrowing a group of people by similar characteristics and attributes helps you define who your ideal customers are and develop targeted outreach messaging so you can be smart about your marketing and your advertising dollars. So how do you do this? How do you actually go about segmenting? And there's two parts to it. It's the demographics, which you all have on file about your students. You know their age, their race, their location, the employment status, and also psychographics. What are their barriers to engage with you? What would motivate them? All of those things play into the role of psychographics. Here's an example of what your end product, if you will, of coming up with market segments. This is an example from Kern County in California, and it's a K through 12 school district in California who wanted to do an outreach campaign and educate more of their parents, who is a key influencer, and their market segments who have broken down into high school age, 15 to 17, and middle school. Because again, each one of those market segments are going to have different psychographics and different demographics. So you can see under the parents, most were aged between 34 and 49. They were lower to middle income, some and no college education, rural or small city, working full or part-time. What they worried about is they were anxious about the future. This was during COVID. They were pragmatic. They want to focus on their child getting a good job. So their messages really needed to go around security and how the school could help them build security for their child's future. The kids, the high schoolers and the middle high schoolers, were not interested in that at all. They wanted something fun, right? And they were heavily influenced by both parents and their peers. So the different segments, different types of characteristics for each one that you have to think about. So this is just an example of market segment breakdown, demographics, and psychographics. Now, how do you do that? Well, what you can do, and in the lower right-hand corner here, you see some examples of adult education specific segments like ESL learners, maybe citizenship seekers, skill seekers, and CTE. So you would create an Excel spreadsheet like this and start with demographics. Whatever information you have on file, here I have as a dislocated worker, and I've broken down their age, education level, their zip code, ethnicity, and gender. You have this already on file. Yes, Annika.
Celina, there is a question that is a hot one. How would one determine psychographics of each targeted segment?
I love that question because that is actually our next slide. So thank you for that question. In psychographics, there are a lot of secondary research out there that will help you understand the voice of your adult education students. Pew Research Center is a great one. You can get on there and Google adult education attitudes about adult education. You can also do focus groups within your organization, customer interviews, customer surveys, and even crowdsourced profiles like if you Google Young and Rubicam, there's a whole consumer characterization. I would also just throw this out the window. And one simple thing you could do on your psychographics is when you're in intake with that student, ask them two simple questions. What motivated you to come to our school, and or what interests you in this particular class? What are you hoping this class does for you? Do you have any fears about coming to the school or things that you think might get in your way? Challenges. What are your aspirations? 2, 3, 4 questions like that upon intake, and then aggregate that data because it's your students coming in the door and it would be very specific. The other thing that we do is we develop personas. I do not have time to get into that today, but that is part of the online course where you take like a fictional character, you give that person a name and start telling a story about that person. So that's something we actually do in the class and really get involved in. But for this class purpose, just to kind of give you a snippet, to get to like what you're seeing in the lower left-hand corner, you start with a market segment and then you overlay their fears, their barriers, what they hope to, why did they come and see you, what they're hoping to get out of being a part of your school. Does that help?
Celina, would you be able to restate the 4 to 5 questions to ask during intake to help build psychographics?
Yeah, I was kind of rambling as if I was talking to a student, but upon intake, I would say, we're so happy to see that you're here. Why is it that you chose our school? What are you hoping to get out of engaging with us and engaging in this program? How do you think this class may change your life? That's another good one. In what ways? I'm going slow, so I don't know if anybody's writing this down. I'm just kind of what are your fears about taking this course or engaging? Do you have any challenges that would keep you from getting to class or completing? So it's basically you guys know the right questions to ask because you interface with your students all the time. So it's just doing that, having that conversation up front upon intake to get you kind of started on that. Does that help? Do a whole class, and we do a whole class on personas in the workshop. So this is kind of a starter kit for you on getting to your ideal customers. Okay, great questions. I love it. So now let's get into positioning and brand promise. I told you there were 2 parts to the brand blueprint. The last one is really dealing with positioning. How do you differ from the competition? And and we're going to give you a little tool on doing the competitive analysis in the market. So if you look at this next slide here, a positioning statement is really how you're different. It remains true to your organizational values. Sometimes it's used just as a statement internally to get to your brand promise, which is usually a tagline or a key set of messages that you use. So if the differentiator, you need to do a competitive analysis. I'm going to break that down for you here in just a second to see what you do different and better than them. Be one small thing, but that could be important. It could be your whole differentiator. And then your brand promise is really what you want your customers to have when they interact with your brand. Again, it's typically a short sentence that can be accompanied with a tagline. I'm going to show you some case studies here. First, a private sector case study, and then we're going to get into some other ones and show you how to do that competitive analysis. So here's an example, Rate Genius. What are they all about? Well, they connect people, products, and technology to find consumers the best auto loan rate. They do this through their innovative origination platform. So they have unique proprietary software. That's how they're different. With their 150 lending institution nationwide to shop multiple offers and present the best option for the customer. So right here in their home page, and this is, by the way, prime real estate to get your message out to your adult learners. says refinance your auto loan and save. You can apply in minutes. When you boil it down to a single value proposition, yes, they use their proprietary software, but at the end of the day, what does that do? You can help save money and time. Basically, they're doing the work for you. And you can see that they have two different audiences here, don't they? They have the consumers who want to shop for a rate, and they have the lending partners. You too have multiple audiences. When you think about your students and all the market segments that you serve, you have employers that you work with. And sometimes we go to your website and employers are not even on your website. We want to engage them in maybe work-based learning, even sponsorship opportunities, but they don't see themselves on your website, and that's a challenge. So when you think about your ideal customer, which is for your products and services, also think about your partners that you're trying to engage with. So Rate Genius did a competitive analysis, and you're going to do one too. We're going to show you how to do it. And again, you do have competitors. It can be a bit awkward doing this. It's easier for-profit companies because they're trying to make a profit. You guys, it's a little bit awkward because some of your competitors may be, a partner. But in crafting what you think you do better or differently, you do not make assumptions. You use data, and that helps you understand what you're bringing uniquely to the table. So in your handout, and Emma, we can maybe repost the link for the deck itself, and then you'll have this competitive analysis worksheet. We want you to identify at least 3 organizations who provide similar services, and then conduct an online search for their brands. Maybe what comes up in Google. Well, obviously, their website will come up, but maybe reports and things like that. And then you're going to complete the worksheet to the left. So I call this friendly stalking. You're going online and basically you're trying to figure out the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats compared to your brand. So you'll look at things like, well, what is their brand story? What are they saying in that main mural? Do they have a tagline? What is their purpose, vision, mission, and values as it compared to yours? What is their brand look and feel? Is the website nicely organized? Does it look nice? Their taglines, their customer personas. Who is their customers? It's similar to yours. Looking at their social media platforms and their audience reach. So this simple exercise that you do can really help you tremendously in getting your competitive analysis completed. Any questions before I move on? I know we're rolling through this quickly, but we want to give you snippets of, what we're doing here, and also some practical things you can take away. So after doing all that, how do you get into your brand and segmented messaging so it's not getting lost in the noise? I'm going to go back to, here's a very rudimentary example of market segments that we called out in the Illinois campaign called Your Path, Your Future. There were several ideal customer target audiences that we wanted. So each of them were labeled at the top, and I'm going to use the first column as an example. There was English for career. So those that wanted to learn English better, but to apply it to a career contextually. These were male, female, age 18 to 54. They're interested in improving English to get a better job, primarily high school diploma or less or equivalency, varied immigration status, and they're either single or part of the family. From a psychographic standpoint, they see better job opportunities available post-pandemic with improved English, and they're seeking quick skill improvement to capitalize on job opportunities. They may be open to pathways to high school completion down the road, but this is their goal, learning English for career. That is the focus. So their segmented messaging is get a better job with better English skills. Very simple. Again, these messages are for recruiting and expanding and getting people interested in what you are doing. Not talking about course schedules or features or any of that. It's just to pique their attention. English, I can't see that here. The second one was English for personal use. So you go through their segmented messaging is enjoy life more when you can connect easier with friends, family, and community. And you guys can read these later in detail. High school completion, college prep, get a better job with the high school equivalency. And then lastly, career exploration and readiness. Ready for a career? Short-term classes can get you ready. One sentence, two sentences max that will get the attention of your market segment. So you see why when you develop a flyer, for example, see this all the time. All the messages are in one flyer for all these market segments. You're better off doing separate flyers, separate communications for each of these market segments, because otherwise the message is going to go over their head. Here, what we did is we looked at all those 4 market segments and we tested out different taglines. And Your Path, Your Future was the overarching message between all of those that worked extremely well. In the course, we get into how we can test messages. An easy way to do this, we did this online through social media, testing this to see what had engagement with different taglines we had selected. But you can also test them in your school with your target audiences. Did this resonate with you? What did this mean for you? And then their brand story is there is a path to getting a new job or getting a better job, helping your children with their homework, or preparing for college through adult ed in Illinois. I'm interested in, and they select a pathway. So very short, you're distilling everything you do down into a single value proposition. And that is how you get there. Oh, I see a heart float up. That's nice. Let me give you another example, maybe another way of approaching this, this is a workforce development board in Contra Costa County. And what we decided with their board members is we're going to look at our promises and our strategic plan and work backwards into what is the overarching value proposition. So in this one, these are the things that what were in their strategic plan. They wanted to support economic growth and self-sufficiency. And then we said the target is for the community. They wanted to ensure equitable access to regional sector pathways. And then we named the target that was for. Coordinating core program partners, including adult ed, Title I, things of that nature, and then coordinate with state strategic partners to leverage funding. So we took the plan and we said, okay, well, what if we were to do this? This is what we said we're going to do in our strategic plan. What is the overarching brand promise and our brand story? So they start out by saying our work achieves equitable economic growth for Contra Costa County. We ensure, think about this being in the about section of the website. We ensure a pipeline of diverse workforce talent is available to keep local companies competitive. And through our connections and partnerships, we find innovative solutions to solve complex workforce issues and leverage resources to benefit the workforce and businesses alike. So their brand promise is achieving equity. And you'll see later on how we applied that at different touch points. Okay, check-in time. I know we're giving you 10 modules in a compacted, you can do this. Annika, any questions here? And then I'm going to toss it to you to explain peso. I know, look, I see like, how can we do this? That's the course when we go through this with you, and you'll see the 10 modules. They're broken down into snippets. Snippets. Then you have templates and tools. We watch videos. We do case studies. Then you go back and apply one snippet of this and then come back and build on it. So it's not like, I know we're fire hosing you today, but we want to get everything in so you kind of understand the overview.
Yep, there are no questions, just lots of emojis. So thank you for
okay. I know. I see that. Oh my goodness. Don't worry. Now we're okay. Take a breath, because now we're going to do the peso model, and Annika is peso queen. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
This is one of our favorite ways, and this is actually peso is a certification you can get. It's something that we teach and something that we really love, because it helps you think about how your whole marketing mix is coming together and your integrated strategies. I want to flag something here. Today, Facebook was down. Facebook and Instagram and probably Threads for most people starting very early this morning on the East Coast. So if you are only dependent on posting on social media to reach to your ideal customer, you're losing all of that time. And we don't know when that's going to happen again, right? So this is why that example this morning just really brought it home to me again of why PESO is so important. So what does PESO stand for? Paid, earned, shared, and owned. So paid media would be your digital advertising, social media ads. If you do flyers, if we're taking it offline, if we're taking it into the real world, right? If you still mail things to people's homes, that is all paid. It's things that you're paying for to advertise to your ideal customer. If you do commercials on local stations, earned media in this case would be word of mouth. So for those of you who said your students are really great at talking you up, that is earned media. That is when you get into the local paper and they're talking about how great your programs are. That is earned media. It is other people sharing why you're so fantastic. That's award opportunities, right? When people ask you to speak, potentially at conferences or hold workshops. Shared media is your social media. It can also be partnerships. It could be links to different brand partners that you work with. Some schools and workforce boards we're now seeing use influencers in local influencers in the community. That would be shared because other people are sharing your message, but in a different way. So earned is more of they're just sharing it because they want to, not because anybody asked them to. Shared is where you're sharing your message, but other people are sharing it because you're partnering with them. So again, if all of your shared platforms went away, that's every single social media platform today, would you have access to your marketing materials? And that is where owned comes in and why owned is so vital. Owned is your email lists of potential prospects, your donors, your business partners, all of that. It's your newsletters. It's the case studies that you have showing why somebody should get involved with your organization, why it's so important. It's your website. It's all of the content you've created. So it could be blogs, it could be podcasts, thought leadership from your executives or from teachers. We love to hear those stories from different teachers and instructors. And it's what you share if you have events and conferences, like COABE has a national conference coming up, they own that conference. So the best thing that we see is a mix. So for example, if you had earned media, whether that was somebody shouting you out in a review on your website or on social media, or you were in a publication talking about the programs that you're doing and the results, then that's something that you would share on your social media. It's something that you share on your website, in your blog, potentially your newsletter, in other ways. So that would be owned. And then if it's something really fantastic, you could even use that as an advertising component. And so this is really where we talk about using them and thinking about each piece of content kind of in an omni-channel is what we say. So, or omnipresent way. So how do you take one piece of marketing messaging and share it across all of these ways? Celina talked about all the messages we hear. We know that people need a lot of touch points. They need to really investigate before they make a decision to work with us. And so that is the short version of PESO, but it is a really great strategy to think about.
Fantastic. Thanks, Annika. And, most of the time people want to jump right in here first, right? Oh, let's do something. Oh, we got to get our message out. Let's do social media. Let's do earned media. Let's pay for some ads. Why are you doing that? That's what the course gets into because each of your markets are very unique and you have different budgets, bandwidth, all of that. One of the reasons I like PESO, it helps you, and the course culminates in developing a strategic and very doable marketing and communications plan. And doable is the word. Because you can't obviously take on all this at one time. That would be crazy. You'd have to have so much budget. But it will help you drill down into what is it that are your key priorities. And those are going to go in my marketing plan first. And those are the tactics that I should use. And then, here's some case studies on how others have used it. That's the whole process behind this. But again, you have to have everything. We spent so much time on messaging and the brand blueprint because you can't go out and create content without really understanding who you are and your unique selling proposition. So that's why we spend time on that in the first part of the course. I'm going to run through this quickly. You remember this as the case study, Achieving Equity. This is a before of their website. Now, if you came to this website, would you know where to go and is it inviting? Does it have A value proposition is this? No, all the answers I know are no, we can't, we don't know what this is. This is the after. And the website, when you go through this deck and you get it, we've put on the side here, what is it, an own channel? Is it shared? And you'll see that Contra Costa has a very well-balanced plan. But by the way, it took about a couple years to really integrate everything, right? So you see achieving equity. This is the value proposition. And then they've got it here. I'm an adult job seeker, or an employer, right? Brand stories also owned. Stories are so important. We have a whole module on storytelling because it goes back to if someone else's, my grandmother used to say this, let somebody else toot your horn. Don't toot your own horn. Y'all heard that saying from the South, right? It's like, it's so much more powerful when people say, wow, full capacity marketing's great. And there's a testimonial there. Well, your customers are your heroes. And Annika has this great thing in the course around taking them through the hero's journey and how you can share that as part of your website and also another piece of content to share. Here is sharing. You see achieving equity every there. So the look and feel is similar. That is so important because people are going to check you out at different touch points. Your socials, your, whatever you have, your flyers, all of that. This is a success story of Andre, and again, it demonstrates how this board is achieving equity, and his story exemplifies that. I'll go through this pretty quickly because you have the handout. And then ad campaigns, see, similar look and feel. They actually did a pop-up business resource center here as part of their board. So they included some blogging, which is also owned. And then Annika did some great public relations on this particular project where we got earned media as well. And here was one of the ROI scorecards, which we'll get into in the course as well, like how do you build your scorecard, what tools you should need, etc. Okay, so I know we went through that pretty quickly. Annika, let me stop there to see if there's any questions, and then I'm going to go through the course outline very quickly, and then you guys can put in the chat why you should win the free online course.
Yeah, no other questions right now, but just Jacqueline from Houston talking about the sustainability of adult literacy. I used to live in Houston, still do a lot of we still do a lot of stuff there, so love that. And we also have some Texas partnerships as well as the COA partnership. So we're very excited about working with you and helping you go through this program.
Absolutely. So when you go to COAB's website, you can download this whole piece here. Now, even though there's 10 modules, there's a lot of information packed within each of the modules, but we break it down into mini snippets, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then you have a tool that is applied to that. You learn how to use the tool, and then you go back and complete it, and then you come back. The reason you do it that way is because if you say, look at this and go, oh, I want to learn about PR, and you jump right into module 8, again, it builds on itself. You've got to have all the messaging. So in the first 4 modules, we cover things like understanding your market and your current brand perceptions. So it gets into that whole piece, and then building your ideal customer profile. So we dive a little bit more into the psychographics and personas. We get into storytelling to elevate your workforce education brand. And then I've also added a module in there on building internal brand ambassadors. So working out of your silos, because you may be a small organization that has 2 people, maybe 2 counselors are doing the outreach, or an admin who's also helping you. Well, you need to build a team around those people because you are an important touch point. You'll also be more effective using your time as well. So that whole thing is helping you set up your messaging and your organizational structure. Then we go dive a little bit further into modules 5, 6, and 7, the intro to marketing. So more in the PESO model in depth, and then taking PESO apart. So digital, experiential marketing and direct marketing, public relations, podcasting. By the way, Annika forgot to mention that her podcast, I'll Toot Your Own Horn. I'll toot your horn, Annika. She has 50,000 downloads on her podcast every month, and over 5,500 and growing 5-star ratings. So maybe Emma, you could put in the chat how to get a hold of Annika's podcast in there. But she's a podcaster, right? So we've been using podcasting, even guest podcasting, as a great way to get your message out there. And then all of that culminates in creating your marketing, strategic marketing and communications plan. So as you can see, as a COABE member, you get a discount on the course. I would highly recommend you take the course with several people within your organization so you can work together on the tools and the templates. So right now, I would love for you, if you're interested in winning the free seat to this course, think about all that we've covered today and let us know why you feel your organization is deserving of a seat in the online course, anything inspiration you want to share with us. Let me pause there. Annika, any questions?
No, but people are writing really great responses already.
I love it. I love it. So while you're writing the responses, I want to tell you, Annika and Emma are going to be helping us at the COABE conference in the hybrid sessions that we're doing. So they'll be online. I'll actually be on site, and I cannot wait to see hopefully everybody in Nashville. If you want to connect with me on the Whova app, and let's say you want a consultation about your organization, things that you're doing, and how we might be able to help you, just jump on the Whova app and connect with me there, or you can send me an email. Emma will drop that in as well. But one thing I would highly recommend, if you like this information that we're presenting, we are doing a 3-hour pre-conference session, building an effective adult ed brand, the art of storytelling, student campaigns, and targeted outreach. The cost of that is $75. So if you're not planning to go to COABE, but you want to take our class, it's still time to register. And Emma's going to drop the link in for the registration in that as well. Let's see. I will have 3 classes there. This pre-conference session that you see here. There'll also be a class that we're doing with Kathy Tracy Olson from Illinois. She's the adult education director there. That class is on Tuesday afternoon, I think at 2 o'clock, somewhere in there, where you can, so you can join us virtually for that. And that's behind every employer campaign, how we're doing a statewide campaign there. The other part we're doing is on Monday morning at 8 o'clock, and it'll be a hybrid class on building an effective adult education brand as well. And we're going to use Kathy. Kathy will be in that session with me, talking about what she's been doing in terms of building sustainability across Illinois using integrated marketing. So those are all the ways that you can connect with us at the conference. Oh, one other thing, Emma, can you drop in increaseenrollment.com? We just launched a landing page about the Illinois model. And by the way, that Illinois model increased enrollments 40.5% from fiscal year 21 to fiscal year 2022 using integrated marketing. So I really hope you check that out. We're going to post up things in our exhibit hall, our virtual exhibit hall at COABE. I think we may even give another free seat away in the course, and also some of our books, the book that Annika and I shared with you. And then you have all kinds of ways you can connect with us on our website. That is like 12 o'clock on the dot. That is so, I know we fire hose you guys today. There's no 2 ways about it. What we'll do is we're going to download the chat, give you a few more minutes to continue writing. We'll download the chat. We'll review everybody's answers, and then we'll announce in COABE's e-newsletter who won. And then we want to stay in contact with that person. Hopefully you'll all really sign up for the course. It's 2 years in the making, and a lot of it was derived out of me going to conferences and seeing you all there and saying, why are we the best kept secret? Why don't people know about us? Why? And so I just love the course. I think you'll really enjoy it and hope you can participate. Annika, Emma, any other last minute questions?
I just wanted to say there are some amazing responses in the chat. I mean, just incredible.
Yeah,
and broke over here, guys.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not Oprah, so we can't just give it away to everybody.
I know. Oh, I would love that. I would love that. The other thing I would love to do is maybe sneak this in here too. Think about how you would use the course and build out some kind of model from it or whatever. Whoever wins the class, we definitely want to work with you and oh, it's just so good to see you guys here. It's very doable. And again, I know we fire hosed you, but the way we break it out, it's like yes, 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 bit by bit. I hope to do see you all in Nashville. I'd love to have coffee with you and just chat. Come to our classes and say, hey, we were online or whatever, and we'll go from there. So we'll have the end of session poll here, and we'll keep the chat open while you guys are writing in your amazing responses. And Bethel, I'm going to turn it over to you. Are there any other nuggets you want to share about Nashville? Because I know you're going on no sleep now, getting ready for this conference.
Yes, we are very excited about it. I do want to mention if you're already registered for the conference and you do want to attend the pre-conference with Celina, please just reach out to me. Do not register again. It will create another whole registration for you.
Dear.
So it'll be a little confusing. So if you already registered, just let me know. I can add that on the back end for you. It's very simple. So just so it doesn't confuse you, and then you end up with 2 envelopes at the conference, and then confuse the rest of us. But we are very excited to see everyone in Nashville. It's going to be our biggest yet. There is no doubt. So a lot going on, a lot of people to meet. Definitely get on the Hoover app. You can chat with Celina and her team. They're already on there. There's some community bulletins, community boards. You can do some meetups and things like that. So it's pretty exciting. So I just want to say thank you so much to Celina, Emma, and Anika today for presenting this. A lot of information, a lot of great information. It's just amazing.
Fire hose, and this will be recorded.
Yes.
Sheila, someone asked, just it takes COAB, they're speedy, about 24 hours, 48 hours is, but it is pre-conference week, but give them some time, and then this will be uploaded into the recorded webinars, right? The archive webinars.
Yes, they
Is that
are.
right?
Yes, and then you also receive your certificate too, but please allow at least 24 hours. And we will get to everyone, I promise.
Okay, great. Did we want to leave the chat up further for just a minute or two in case people are, it looks like people are just saying thanks. I just didn't want to.
Nope, you can leave it up. No problem.
Yeah, I think we
I know
should
I'm
be
going to
good to
cry
go. I
reading the
think we just
chats.
got, yeah, I mean, some of these responses are just amazing.
Yes, we'll send out the link to the recording and also post it on COAB's website under archived webinars. So yeah, you will see it. Okay, I think we're good. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you in Nashville and chat
Bye.
soon. Thank you so much, Bethel. Really appreciate all your help, and Annika and Emma.
Everyone have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.